Tonight, we're re-racking the tape from 5 years ago. Neil warning back then that the new housing bailout wasn't worth the cost.
Welcome to big government that just got bigger, everybody, about $75 billion bigger. The president is broadening the rescue by including homeowners who are still current in their payments but might not be for long. The government is ripping up millions of mortgage contracts. How do you avoid folks from taking advantage of this? A government willing to take over banks that can't lend and car companies that can't sell cars is now forcing mortgage providers to provide mortgages to those who can't pay.
Well, now 5 years later and billions of dollars later, was he right? Real estate analysts Jason Meister and Greg Rand say absolutely. Jason.
Yes. It's been a colossal failure, Charles. I mean, you had a bailout of the banks, not out of the house homes. And these people have basically, the modifications didn't stick. So you really had a bailout of the banks, these modifications didn't stick, and the banks are basically now, stick with foreclosure.
When you say the modifications didn't stick, it means that people were given better terms, lower monthly payments, and they still are defaulting or going through foreclosure.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, the modifications just caused prolonged pain. You had foreclosures that came on longer and harder.
Right. You know what's interesting about that, and I'm going to get to Greg in one moment, but even with the bait and switch of the teaser loans, the ones where the rates were very low for maybe 6 months to a year, and then they jacked up, a large percentage of people with the low one, before they even were jacked up, they ended up going through foreclosure. So the media painted it one way. In reality, though, it was a different way. And, Greg, you don't think it was worth the effort and the money either, right?
No, I don't. I think that we actually created more foreclosures than we prevented. There was a period of time there where the government really was harassing the banks and at the same time wondering why they weren't lending and loosening their standards to loan to a new round of home buyers. But I know for a fact from seeing the commentary from the government, the policies from the government, and then the resulting increases in foreclosures and delinquencies, there was a cause and effect there. And so I think it backfired on the foreclosure prevention. We certainly didn't prevent many foreclosures. Right. We have more of them than one is even anticipated back then. And we tampered with the housing market and probably prolong the recovery.
And on that note, prolonging the recovery, intimidating banks, the Fed survey of senior loan officers was out recently. I see where they're getting a lot looser with loans and requirements from businesses, but they're actually starting to get tougher with homeowners or would-be homeowners. Greg, what the heck is that all about?
I think it's schizophrenia. The lending industry does not know when the next shoe is going to drop. They're dealing with a situation where they loan money, and the people that borrow the money are now protected class. It just turns them upside down in terms of knowing how to underwrite mortgages. Right. But the interesting thing is that the market recovered in large part because of cash buyers and cash investors. So there was a lot of people who did have money who also had an enormous amount of faith in an overall recovery. Yeah. And so it's not just about banks lending. This recovery happens because the market corrected after
and Wall Street
shot
was
up in price.
Chinese investors are in there. So, Jason, take us forward. What's going to happen from here?
It's artificially propped up, Charles.
Right now, at this moment.
It's completely artificially propped up. You have Blackstone buying up houses all across the country. You have foreign investment buying up houses. Where's the first-time home buyer? They're an extinct species. You have 30-year-old people living in their parents' home bedrooms in their basements. This is a market that's not been recovered. You had 5 years, and you had what are we left with? It's not. This is not. You have people buy homes with jobs. We need jobs in this country. We need plants. We need manufacturing.
Plants, manufacturing, jobs, and then maybe we'll get a real housing recovery. Both of you guys are fantastic. Really appreciate it.